In today's English lesson, let's build your vocabulary and improve your pronunciation by reading a short story together. This story contains 20 practical, high-frequency adjectives that native speakers really use in daily conversations, in emails, on the news, etc. I'll read one paragraph at a time. Your job is to listen and try to fill in the missing words. Then I'll explain how to use and pronounce these words correctly. At the end of the lesson, you'll listen and repeat. I'll go back and read the whole story one more time at a natural speed. And of course, you can download the free PDF with all the information from today's lesson. You can find the link in the description below this video. Our story today is called A Cup of Trouble for a Hopeful Writer. As I read the first paragraph, listen and try to fill in the missing words, and pay attention to what they have in common. Leah was a writer in search of a place to work on her new book. She finally found a cafe that seemed perfect. The chairs were very comfortable, and the prices were quite affordable. The cafe offered a discount for bringing a reusable mug from home. She didn't know about this, so she had to use a disposable cup. First, let's focus on the vocabulary. All 4 of the missing words are everyday adjectives that end with the suffix able. Try to pronounce the L in the final syllable with a dark ol sound. You should feel tension as you lift the back of the tongue, and you can round your lips a little bit. Ol. Okay, before I show you the first word, just listen to my pronunciation and forget about the spelling. This is one of those weird situations where the pronunciation does not match the spelling. Comfortable. Comfortable. 3 syllables. In American English, we usually insert an sound in the second syllable, comfortable, but sometimes this is just a schwa vowel, comfortable, especially in British English. But in all dialects, 3 syllables are much more common than 4 syllables. Of course, we'll understand you if you say comfortable, but it's more important when you're listening to native speakers, because most of the time you're gonna hear comfortable. And we know that if something's comfortable, it's easy, relaxing, or pleasant. But if it's the opposite, something that causes pain or stress, then it's uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. The next adjective is really useful. Affordable. Affordable. 4 syllables, stress the second syllable. Something that's affordable is easy for most people to pay for. This comes from the verb to afford something. For example, I can afford this car, which means I have enough money to buy it. Or you can say, this car is affordable. The price is not too expensive for me. But if the opposite is true, then this car is unaffordable. Unaffordable. Next, we have the word reusable. Reusable. This means that a product is made to be used again for a long time. Many grocery stores encourage customers to bring reusable shopping bags. In this story, our writer, Leah, didn't know that she could bring a reusable mug. A mug is just a large cup. Oh, like this. I have a mug right here. So it has a handle, and it's usually for hot drinks. So this is a mug. And based on the context, we can guess that the next word should be the opposite of reusable. If a product is made to be used only once or for a short time, then it's disposable. Disposable. From the verb to dispose. These are things that you throw away after you use them. Okay, let's continue our story. Leah looked around and tried to find a place to sit. In the main area, there was a sign on the wall that said, "Please be considerate and silence your devices." There were separate rooms for private calls and group meetings. This made the cafe appropriate for many different kinds of work. Our next group of adjectives all end with ate. And when this is at the end of an adjective, we usually reduce the vowel sound. So it's not pronounced like the word ate, past tense of eat. It's really a schwa sound. For example, a person who's very considerate is respectful and thinks about other people's feelings and needs. Not considerate, but considerate. 4 syllables. Considerate. I know this sounds really similar to consider it, like the verb consider plus the object it, but you can use the context of the sentence to tell which one is being said. So a person or an action can be considerate or the opposite, which is inconsiderate. Inconsiderate. The word device usually implies an electronic device. So silence your devices means turn off the volume on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, etc. Next, this word can be used as an adjective or a verb, but the pronunciation is completely different. Here we're using the adjective separate, separate, 2 syllables, and this vowel in the second syllable is reduced to schwa. This is different from the verb separate, separate. This word has 3 syllables, and notice that we don't reduce the vowel in the final syllable. Actually, this is a great tip for many words that end with ate. Usually we keep the full vowel in the verb form and reduce it in the adjective or the noun form. So we have separate, the verb, versus separate, the adjective. Some other common examples are moderate versus moderate, estimate versus estimate, duplicate, duplicate. Like a copy of something is a duplicate. As an adjective, something that's separate is different or not connected to something else. For example, he and his wife have separate bank accounts. When I cook, I use separate knives for meat and vegetables. Next, we have the opposite of the word public. This is not pronounced private, it's private, private. Something that's only for one person or one group is private. Here's another useful word with 4 syllables. Appropriate, appropriate. We use this a lot to talk about something that's correct for a particular situation. Let's discuss this at a more appropriate time. Or it's inappropriate to wear jeans to a job interview. So something can be appropriate or inappropriate. Let's go to the next paragraph. The air conditioning was strong, and since Leah was sensitive to cold, she quickly put on her sweater. She then opened her laptop and decided it was time to be productive. She made impressive progress on her book, even though she had an impulsive habit of opening social media whenever she felt stuck. Here, the word since functions very similarly to the word because. They both give a reason, but they feel a little different. Because is stronger and it puts more direct focus on the reason. Since is softer and the reason is not the main point. For example, because the restaurant was crowded, we sat outside. Here, the crowding of people inside the restaurant is the important point. Since the restaurant was crowded, we sat outside. So the focus is that we sat outside. And the first part of the sentence just provides some context for our decision. Our next word is sensitive. Sensitive. Stress on the first syllable. Be very careful with this word. A common mistake I hear is that learners confuse sensitive with sensible. I know that some other languages, especially Romance languages, have a word that looks like sensible. Por ejemplo, sensible en español. But this word actually means sensitive in English. So this is called a false friend, a word that looks similar in two languages but has a different meaning. In English, sensitive means you are easily affected or damaged by things. Emotionally, you can be a sensitive person, you get your feelings hurt easily, or physically, you can have sensitive skin or eyes, or you can be sensitive to something, like hot or cold temperatures. Sensible, on the other hand, means practical or reasonable. A sensible person makes good decisions. For example, wearing sunscreen at the beach is a sensible thing to do. Or going to bed early the night before an exam is sensible. If you're able to complete a lot of tasks or produce a lot of results, then you are productive. Productive. You can have a productive morning, a productive meeting, or maybe your team did not achieve much during the meeting. So the meeting was unproductive. Unproductive. Next, she made impressive progress on her book. Impressive. This means that something's very good in a way that you admire or respect. The library has an impressive collection of rare books. Or the opposite. I thought the singer's second album was unimpressive. So it wasn't as good as I expected. Here we have the word impulsive. Impulsive. This is when you do something suddenly without planning or thinking carefully first. He made an impulsive decision to book a flight to another country. Some people make impulsive purchases when stressed. In this context, Leah had an impulsive habit of opening social media, so she does this without thinking. Now, the word whenever is extremely useful, and you'll hear native speakers use it two ways. First, whenever means that every time something happens, this is the result. For example, whenever I drink coffee in the afternoon, I can't sleep at night. So this is a pattern that happens every time. In this context, Leah opens social media every time or whenever she gets stuck. The other meaning of whenever is at any time. You can call me whenever you need help. There's no specific situation. Any time is okay. You can apply this meaning to other words that end with ever, whoever, whatever, wherever, however. So it doesn't matter who, what, where, how, etc. It's very flexible. Okay, let's continue. As more and more people entered the cafe, the noise level kept rising. Leah became annoyed by the constant movement and the loud, distracting conversations around her. After several minutes of trying to refocus, she began to feel frustrated and a little overwhelmed by the busy atmosphere. She needed something to block out the noise. This paragraph features adjectives that could end with either ed or ing. It's really important to know which one to use because it changes the perspective of the situation. Adjectives ending in ed usually describe how a person feels, their emotions inside. Adjectives with ing usually describe the cause of the feeling. So this is the quality of a thing, a situation, an activity, etc. Usually, ed describes a personal feeling that's temporary, and ing describes something that's a more permanent characteristic that doesn't change. So imagine that you're at a party and you say to yourself, I'm so bored. This means the party is boring or not interesting. You feel like you want something more fun to happen, or you just want to go home. However, if you say, I'm so boring, that means in general, your own personality is not interesting. So be careful, because calling another person boring, you're basically telling that person, talking to you is not fun. Oof. So now back to our story. Our next adjective is either annoyed or annoying. What do you think? Leah became annoyed. Annoyed. So she feels bothered or a little angry. But the things around her that cause this feeling are annoying. Annoying. Next, the conversations. Were they distracted or distracting? The conversations were distracting. Something that's distracting prevents you from focusing. But if you're describing your personal feeling, you feel distracted by that thing. Distracted. You feel unable to focus in that moment because something is taking your attention. Next, frustrated or frustrating. Leah began to feel frustrated. Frustrated. This is when you feel upset because something is difficult or is not working. He gets frustrated when his boss suddenly changes plans. A slow internet connection can be very frustrating to deal with. So this causes you to feel upset, to feel frustrated. You can probably guess that the next adjective also ends with ed because we have frustrated and a little overwhelmed. 3 syllables, overwhelmed. This is extremely useful. When you feel unable to handle everything because it's just too much, you feel overwhelmed. This is usually a bad feeling, but sometimes this can be a good feeling. I'm so overwhelmed by all the work I need to finish by Friday. This is causing a lot of stress. Or the amount of love and support I've received is overwhelming. Overwhelming. So it's very strong, but this time in a very positive way. Also, we have a separable phrasal verb here. Block something out or block out something means to hide or cover something so that light or sound cannot pass through. In a more abstract way, you can block out a memory, which means that you force yourself to forget about something unpleasant. All right, let's read the last paragraph. After she put on her soundproof headphones, the cafe instantly felt calmer. She then took a sip of her coffee. I thought I ordered dairy-free milk, she said to herself. As she tried to remove the lid to check, she accidentally dropped her cup, spilling coffee everywhere. And unfortunately, her laptop wasn't waterproof. Leah had no choice but to pack up and go home. Hopefully, the rest of her day was stress-free. Okay, this paragraph includes some very specific adjectives that are formed from nouns. Sometimes we can add proof to a noun to show that something is protected from or not easily damaged or affected by that thing. For example, something that's designed to block sound from going in or out is soundproof. Soundproof. So headphones can be soundproof. Or a recording studio can have soundproof walls. Or down here, if something is not damaged by water or water cannot pass through it, it is waterproof. Waterproof. We use this a lot in the context of clothing, electronics, or makeup, like you can wear waterproof mascara. In this context, I'm sure Leah wishes she had a waterproof laptop, but sadly, that's not the case. Let's go back up here and look at this adjective, dairy-free. Dairy-free. So the suffix free after a noun means that it doesn't contain that thing. So things that contain no dairy, no milk products are dairy-free. Here, she removed the lid. That's the cover of a cup or a jar, the lid, and she spilled her coffee all over her laptop. Oh, what a horrible experience. Hopefully, the rest of her day was stress-free. Stress-free. This means without stress, without pressure or worry. The company focuses on creating a stress-free environment for its employees. Is it possible to take a stress-free vacation with your kids? All right, now let's read the whole story from start to finish, a bit faster than before. You can try shadowing my voice at the same time, or you can listen to a sentence, pause the video, and repeat it. If it feels too fast, don't forget you can change the video speed in the player below. A cup of trouble for a hopeful writer. Leah was a writer in search of a place to work on her new book. She finally found a cafe that seemed perfect. The chairs were very comfortable, and the prices were quite affordable. The cafe offered a discount for bringing a reusable mug from home. She didn't know about this, so she had to use a disposable cup. Leah looked around and tried to find a place to sit. In the main area, there was a sign on the wall that said, "Please be considerate and silence your devices." There were separate rooms for private calls and group meetings. This made the cafe appropriate for many different kinds of work. The air conditioning was strong, and since Leah was sensitive to cold, she quickly put on her sweater. She then opened her laptop and decided it was time to be productive. She made impressive progress on her book, even though she had an impulsive habit of opening social media whenever she felt stuck. As more and more people entered the cafe, the noise level kept rising. Leah became annoyed by the constant movement and the loud, distracting conversations around her. After several minutes of trying to refocus, she began to feel frustrated and a little overwhelmed by the busy atmosphere. She needed something to block out the noise. After she put on her soundproof headphones, the cafe instantly felt calmer. She then took a sip of her coffee. I thought I ordered dairy-free milk, she said to herself. As she tried to remove the lid to check, she accidentally dropped her cup, spilling coffee everywhere. And unfortunately, her laptop wasn't waterproof. Leah had no choice but to pack up and go home. Hopefully, the rest of her day was stress-free. Now, I want you to practice using at least one of the vocabulary words that you learned today. Answer this question in the comments. Where is your ideal place to work or study? Leave a comment and let me know. If you enjoyed this lesson and would like to read more stories together in the future, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Gina. This is Your World in English, and I'll see you next time. Bye!